Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs, and today we're taking a look at the last episode of the deep dive into beasts and what they do. Now, obviously, we have a lot to choose from. We've gone over the physical ones, we've gone over the grass ones, we've gone over the water ones. All we have left to do is fire. But as the more we go through this, the more we realize this is there's not much really more to deep dive. We can talk about pairings and things like that, but honestly, the easiest way to pair these is with their counterparts, right? So you run your normal one here, and you run this as your counterpart. You run your normal one here, and you run this one as your counterpart. I mean, you can run them on different ones and try to mix and match and things like that, but truth be told, for most of it, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter whether you put these on marches that are like your infantry marches or your ranged marches or your rider marches. It turns out these ones here don't matter too much. We've looked through reports. I've talked to other players who have looked through tons of reports themselves. I've looked through reports myself, and from everything that we can speculate, it really doesn't matter as much. Because, I mean, what's really going to matter is going to be the damage that you do. So whether you do combo and counter, or whether you do crit and crit damage, I mean, either way, it's just going to be damage that's converted flat, right? So it's not something that's going to be nearly as deep as what we think it is. It's very, very simple. So some of the best reports I've seen are going to be running like in garrison. Like the only places that actually matter is in this one here, when you're doing garrison and when you're doing rally. Okay, that's really kind of where it matters the most. And that's why these ones are saved as physical outside of the tree. Right? The physical ones have no type advantage. So in reality, just to remind you guys, it doesn't really matter like where you guys put these ones. I mean, obviously these ones are going to be tankier, so you're going to probably put them on your tankier lines. Ones that, you know, maybe the ones that you want to give out that are going to be buffs. These ones are going to be your damage dealers, whether you want to just put them on your damage dealers or not. Right, so this one's going to increase your basic attack damage. So if you want to increase your basic attack damage by 6%, you can. It doesn't really matter how you pair them, okay? Just that you're going to pair them one with the other, like the big one with the small one, like the legendary with the elite, pardon me. Okay, so you're going to run the legendary as lead and the elite as co-lead, or support, or however you want to call it. Either which way, let's look at these fire animals. Let's look at the fire animals, or the fire beasts, and see what they provide for us. Now, if you'll notice that they're going to be looking at crit damage and crit, just the ability that fire does. Okay? At level 100, we're looking at attributes of 34,950 with an attack and defense at 1715 and 1691 respectively. We're bringing a crit for the additional crit damage, and then obviously grass reduction and squad damage reduction here at the bottom. First ability, Frenzied Bite, deals damage to the target every 6 seconds at a multiplier of 200%, with a 50% chance to increase the damage of the current attack by 10%. The active skill, Vicious Lunge, deals damage to the target every 3 seconds at a multiplier of 76%, and when in support, when the active skill deals a critical hit, has a 50% chance to deal follow-up damage at a multiplier of 132%. Right? So again, we're just looking at increasing that counter, increasing that critical, and then, increasing that crit, increasing the crit damage, and doing what we can. So if you're going to want to use this one to the best of its ability, you want to increase your crit and crit damage as much as you can. Next, we've got Pack Hunting. Passive skill, when the leader skill deals a critical hit, has a 50% chance to gain attack plus 12% for 3 seconds. As a support, has a flat leader crit damage going up by 3%. So you can see how you even would want to have these guys running, like, if these are all the ones you have, and you haven't saved up these ones, or if you're working on these ones and you still have them to level up anyways, you can put them together. You see what I'm saying? So, like, you could have them running, so one of them gets all the leader skills, and then the guy's going to get all the support skills, which are going to help the leader, right? So again, when matchmaking, a lot of it's going to be, you know, as long as you're staying within the same types, you're going to get a lot more of the benefits from it. Lastly, we've got Sandy Power, When the leader skill deals damage to a grass-type biochemical beast, gain damage plus 3.5% for the current attack. As a support when taking counter damage, which, if you remember, is going to be what grass does. And fire is good against grass, so when taking counter damage, has a 50% chance to gain grass reduction by 2.5% for 3 seconds. So that's pretty nice, especially when that's specific against grass. Next, we're going to look at Badlands Boar, who's coming in with basic attributes at 51,750 HP, 2,500 flat attack, and 2,449 defense. Bringing additional crit damage, and then obviously additional grass reduction and squad damage reduction as well. When we look at his skills, it's pretty simple. Leader skill is going to deal damage every 6 seconds at a multiplier of 328%, with a 100% chance to increase damage of the current attack by 15%. When deployed, the attack of the squad troops goes up by 2.5%. The Vicious Impact is going to deal damage to target every 3 seconds at a multiplier of 130%, with crit damage of the current attack going up by 5%. As a support, when the active skill deals a crit hit, has a 100% chance to deal follow-up damage. Okay, at 120%, sorry. Next, we've got Overconfidence. When the leader skill deals a critical hit, gains attack plus 8% and crit plus 4% for 3 seconds. In support, leader crit goes up by 40 and crit damage goes up by by plus 3%. So again, in support, having this character, even having him support one of these guys who are dealing crit and crit damage like that isn't bad, because obviously he's going to be providing flat leader crit at plus 40 and flat crit damage at an additional 3%. And then lastly, Desert Power. When the leader skill deals damage to a grass-type biochemical beast, gain damage plus 3 and crit 4.5% for the current attack. As a support, when taking damage, has a 70% chance to gain grass reduction plus 4.5% for 3 seconds. So if he's already bringing 6%, to bring in an additional 4.5% is huge in comparison to what he's got, even though he's only getting it for 3 seconds. But he does have that 70% chance to gain that when taking damage of any kind. So that's kind of decent to make him tankier and to make him a little bit better against grass. Now we look at the ones that actually matter. Lava Rhino coming in at 68,550 HP with 3,225 attack and 3,255 defense, bringing in 420 crit, 16% damage, and then 8% squad damage reduction and grass reduction. His skills coming in, dealing damage every 6 seconds as per usual, and a multiplier of 490%. Crit for the current attack going up 100, and crit damage going up by 20%. So that means that we're looking for more additional crits to hit, more damage to come out when they do. When he's deployed, skill damage of squad heroes goes up by 2.5%. So again, if you're looking, you can put this with any heroes, but if you're going to put this on anybody, you want to put it on somebody that's going to be doing a little bit more damage. So put these on your range, for example, where you're getting squad damage, or put them, if you notice that you're not getting enough squad or skill damage from your riders, put it on your riders too. I'm thinking a lot to do with diminishing returns. If you already have a lot of skill damage, putting this additional 2.5% skill damage might not nearly be as impactful as putting it on someone who needs it. So again, depending. But again, if you're hyper-focusing one type, it doesn't really matter. If you're hyper-focusing one march or one troop type, it doesn't matter. So that's why there's a lot of context that gets involved. Okay. Next, we're going to look, is that... Okay, yeah, we had just started. My bad. Ding! Marijuana affects the memory. Okay, next we're going to go into Horn Thrust. Active skill deals damage every 3 seconds at a multiplier of 196%. When this attack deals a critical hit, has a 50% chance to increase skill multiplier to 236%. Okay. So to increase it from 196 to 236, that's pretty good. When the active skill deals a critical hit, as a support, when the active skill deals a critical hit, deals follow-up damage at a multiplier of 176. Also has a 100% chance to cause target's defense to drop by 10% for 3 seconds. Okay, so you can see why having him as the leader, because remember the leader skill is pretty much the same, just a little bit stronger. Right? A little bit the same, but just a little bit stronger. Having that extra support is going to be beneficial as well. Okay. Next, we've got Lava Chain. When the leader skill deals a critical hit, has a 100% chance to deal increase damage of the next cast by 72%. Wow, okay. It has a 100% chance to increase the damage of the next cast by 72%. As a support, when the active skill deals a critical hit, has a 100% chance to increase leader crit damage by 24% for 3 seconds. Interesting. Okay. So even together, you can start to see how this is going to be interesting to have that work. So when a leader skill deals critical damage, has a 100% chance to increase the damage of the next cast. And when the active skill deals a critical hit, has a 100% chance to increase the leader crit damage by 24%. So they still kind of work cohesively together. And then lastly, Lava Power. When the leader skill deals damage to a grass type biochemical beast, gain crit plus 50 and crit damage plus 21% for the current attack. As a support, when the leader skill deals damage to a target with a shield, which is what grass type provides, increase damage for the current attack by 7% and crit by plus 30. So again, in the field. This is the Lava Rhino. Not too bad. Interesting looking character. I like the shield kind of thing it's got on its forehead. It's kind of nice. Anyways, let's move on to the Ash Sabertooth. At a level 100 or level 100 here, we're bringing in 68,550 HP, just like the other one. Brings in 3,285 attack, 3,207 defense, 420 crit, 16% damage, and 8% grass reduction and squad damage reduction. So pretty much the same thing as the Lava Rhino. The differences here, we're looking at 526% as a skill multiplier on your damage every 6 seconds, with a 100% chance to increase damage by 15% for the next time. For the next time that Combustion Claw is used, when deployed, skill damage goes up. Skill damage of squad heroes goes up by 2.5%. So this is just going to deal damage to the target every 6 seconds at a multiplier of 526%. And then there is a 100% chance to increase damage by 15% for the next 1 times that Combustion Claw is used. And Combustion Claw is going to be the next skill. It deals damage to the target every 3 seconds at a multiplier of 184%, with a 50% chance to increase skill multiplier to 230%. As a support, when the active skill deals a critical hit, deals follow-up damage, skill multiplier 168%, and has a 50% chance to increase damage of the current attack by 15%. So basically what this is kind of saying is that it's going to deal this with a 100% chance to increase the damage by 15% on the next one of these. Okay, so this one triggers every 6 seconds. This one triggers every 3 seconds. Can also be triggered by counter attacks or combos. Okay. And then that's going to obviously trigger an additional 15% damage. So again, when deployed, skill damage of heroes goes up, as does the Lava Rhino. Same thing. Now we look at Energy Surge. When the skill deals a critical hit, gain crit damage plus 13% for the current attack and crit plus 80 for 3 seconds. Has a support. When using the leader skill, leader crit goes up by 100 for 3 seconds with a 50% chance to increase crit damage by 18% for the next time the skill is used. Next, we've got Blazing Power. When the active skill deals damage to a grass-type biochemical beast, damage goes up by 20% and crit goes up by 30% the next time the skill is used. As a support, when taking damage from a target with a shield, which is again what grass does, leader crit goes up by 70%, crit damage goes up by 5% for 3 seconds. So again, the way that these are all kind of looking at is to deal as much damage as it can via crit and crit damage. Pump out as much as it can via skills and abilities, which is obviously what we're trying to get out of here too. And specifically dealing damage against targets with shield. Okay. Next, we're going to look at Volcano Rhino, which is not the same as Lava Rhino. It is the Volcano Rhino, which is, I mean, kind of the same as Lava Rhino, just a little bit stronger. Bringing in 85,350 HP. Bringing in 3,995 attack and 4,025 defense. Bringing in 525 crit, 20% crit damage, 10% grass reduction and squad damage reduction as well. Extreme Impact is going to deal damage to the target every 5 seconds at a multiplier of 476%, and crit for current attack goes up by 150. Every time a hero in the squad uses a rage skill, receives an additional crit that goes up by 20 up to a maximum of 100. When deployed, skill damage of squad heroes goes up by 4. So this is one where we're actually starting to see a little bit of influence between this and the heroes themselves. So for the first, as this charges up, basically the first 5 skills, it's going to receive an additional crit. So this takes a little bit of time to ramp up. 5 skill triggers, it looks like. 5 rage skill triggers. And then when deployed, skill damage of squad heroes goes up by 4%. Then we've got Flaming Horn Thrust, dealing damage to the target every 3 seconds with a multiplier of 282%. If this attack deals a critical hit, the damage goes up by 15% the next time the leader skill is used. Cool. As a support, when the active skill deals a critical hit, deals follow-up damage at a multiplier of 248%. Also, the target's defense goes down by 15% for 3 seconds. Okie dokes. Lava Explosions coming in next as a passive skill. When the leader skill deals a critical hit, has a 100% chance to deal residual damage to the target equivalent to 92% of the actual leader skill damage dealt. As a support, when any skill deals a critical hit, grants additional crit damage at 34%. So again, stacking that crit. And then lastly, Volcanic Power. When you're dealing damage to a grass-type biochemical beast, damage goes up by 28% for the next time the skill is used. Also gains grass reduction at plus 4% for 3 seconds. So that's when the active skill, which happens every 3 seconds, deals damage to it. And you gain grass reduction at plus 4% for 3 seconds. So that's going to be pretty much consistent. Which could actually, I mean, it could stack additional depending on how active that active skill goes off. And then as a support, when dealing damage to a target with a shield, increases damage for the current attack by 10% and crit damage by 7%. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. On to the next one. Blaze Sabertooth. Blaze Sabertooth is coming in with 85,350 HP, 40,000 or 40. Oh, goodness, I can't believe I stumbled over that. 4,070 attack, 3,965 defense, 525 crit, 20% crit damage, and 10% grass reduction and 10% squad damage reduction. Very similar to the Volcano Rhino that we saw previously. In this Blaze Sabertooth, what we are going to see is double kill, or Hell Double Kill, which is the leader skill, dealing damage every 6 seconds at a multiplier of 720%, with a 100% chance to increase damage by 20% for the next time that Blaze Swipes is used. If using the skill with Wildfire, effect changes to increase damage by 25% for the next 2 times Blaze is used instead. Okay, so let's take a look at how this is going to pair, because I assume we're going to have... Where's Wildfire? Oh, okay, here we go. It's going to be explained. So, there's a 20% chance to increase damage by 20% for the next 1 times that it's used. If using the skill with Wildfire, effect changes to increasing damage to 25% for the next 2 times that it's used instead. And then still providing skill damage increased by 4%. Next, we're going to look at Blaze Swipes. Deals damage to the target every 3 seconds. If using the skill with Wildfire, increases the skill multiplier for this attack to 320 seconds. 20%. Support. When the active skill deals a critical hit, deals follow-up damage with a multiplier of 236% and has a 100% chance to crit 100% chance for crit to go up 100%. Jesus. It has a 100% chance to crit plus 100 the next time the active skill is used. My apologies. For anyone who stumbled through that with me, my apologies. So basically, when the skill deals damage, deals additional damage, and it has a 100% chance for your crit to go up for the next time the active skill is used. Okay. Makes sense. Next, we've got Victory Pursuit. When the skill deals a critical hit, gains Wildfire. Attack goes up by 15% and crit goes up by 110 for 3 seconds. When dealing a critical hit with Wildfire, increases crit damage for this attack by 19%. So when the skill deals a critical hit, gains wildfire. So I assume that means when any skill deals a critical hit, gains wildfire. Okay? And you get that for 3 seconds. And if the skill goes off within that 3 seconds, you're getting additional stuff. So if using the skill with wildfire, right? And this can this can trigger, I mean, wildfire is going to trigger anytime you get a critical hit. Okay? And then when using the and then as a support, when using the leader skill, leader crit goes up by 150 for 3 seconds. If a critical hit is dealt during this time, it has a 50% chance to grant additional crit damage at 26%. So it seems like there's a lot of chance happenings in their skills, I've noticed as well. So like a lot of these 50% chance, 30% chance, 70% chance. So a lot of it's still random. That's kind of what's interesting about this. And then lastly, Blazing Power. When the active skill deals damage to a grass type, gains active skill damage plus 15% and crit plus 40 for 3 seconds. As a support, when dealing damage to a target with a shield, which is again what grass does, increases damage for current attack by 10% and crit by 50. But that's all the fire ones, guys. That is it. That is all, folks. Truth be told, I thought I was going to do a deep dive video on how to pair them and things like that, but like I mentioned, there's really nothing any deeper than that. There's, like, from what we can see so far, it's very, very, like Zed will tell you, it's very surface level. And I tend to agree with him. I've been looking for things to deep dive into, but it's really not. It's very, very cut and dry. You're going to use your hammer pangolin as lead. You're going to use your crystal pangolin as a co-lead for your hammer pangolin. When you're garrisoning, you're going to use the undead bull with a corpse bull co-lead when you're rallying. And then the rest of them you can play however you get. So the rest of them is really just dependent on what you get for luck and things like that. If you want to be a little tankier, you're going to go with grass. If you want to be a little bit more annoying, I think you're going to go with water because they have corrosion. And if you want to be a little bit more up in your face, you're going to go with fire. But other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. But that's it, folks. That is it for everything for the beast that we know so far. If things do change or if things end up coming out and, getting modified or changed in the game, I will obviously let you know. But that is it. So, if you've gotten this far, thank you very much for tuning in and staying till the end. I really do appreciate it. Love, peace, whoop, whoop, whoop. Hold on. Before I go down that path, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, fill out the notification bell. Love, peace, chicken grease, and until next time, stay lifted.